Hollywood, widely recognized as the land of fame and fortune, has consistently been the backdrop where dreams are realized. However, it is also a place where dreams can dramatically fall apart. Behind the glitter and allure lies a shadowy side, where the immense pressures of the spotlight can lead to catastrophic decisions. In this discussion, we're delving into the tales of 25 celebrities whose struggles with drug addiction not only shifted the trajectories of their careers, but altered their lives so profoundly that they became almost unrecognizable. David O. Selznick, the driving force behind the cinematic triumph Gone with the Wind, navigated a career as turbulent as it was successful. Although his film shattered records and collected a stunning array of 10 Oscars, the reality behind the scenes was far from the glamour depicted on screen. Selznick was famously addicted to benzodiazepine, a stimulant he utilized to sustain himself through the exhaustive hours of film production. His dependence on the drug was well known in Hollywood, with tales spreading about his unique method of consuming the substance by crushing benzodiazepine tablets and licking the remnants from his hand to maintain his stamina during the demanding production schedule. This drug-fueled work ethic resulted in relentless determination on set, but it also led to more problematic behavior. Selznick became infamous for his drug-induced domineering and excessive focus on the appearances of actresses, complicating the lives of many who worked under him. While Gone with the Wind achieved unprecedented success, the production of the film came at a personal cost, leaving the legacy of David O. Selznick as a complex amalgam of cinematic brilliance overshadowed by his personal demons and controversial methods. Robert Downey Jr.'s transformation from a Hollywood bad boy to a cherished superhero is truly astonishing. In less than a decade, he moved from facing imprisonment to becoming one of the most recognizable faces in cinema. Downey's troubled past started in 1996 with an arrest for possession of heroin, cocaine, and an unloaded firearm during a traffic stop. This event was the beginning of a series of legal troubles, which included another arrest for trespassing into a neighbor's home while under the influence. These incidents resulted in probation and a brief stint in prison. Downey's battle with addiction persisted, leading to a missed drug test and a subsequent sentence to state prison in 1999. After his release in 2000, he found himself back in custody only 3 months later, caught with cocaine and Valium. Fortunately, Downey found the support he needed to conquer his addiction. His recent success attests to his resilience and determination. Like many who have battled substance abuse, the Marvel star views his past as a series of instructional experiences rather than defining failures. At the premiere of Avengers: Infinity War, Downey reflected on his journey, noting that his past was filled with 30 years of dependency, depravity, and despair, humorously summed up as "an actor prepares." His ability to find humor in his struggles highlights his growth and positive outlook. In a significant turn of events, the governor of California granted Downey a full pardon for his past offenses, a gesture that, coupled with his thriving career, marks a new chapter for the actor who has genuinely embodied the role of a modern-day superhero both on and off the screen. Dennis Quaid, known for his affable demeanor and wholesome image, might seem like the last person one would expect to have struggled with drug addiction. However, the actor's past reveals a battle with substance abuse that belies his current clean-cut reputation. When Quaid first arrived in Hollywood in the 1980s, he quickly became enveloped in the cocaine culture prevalent in the entertainment industry at the time. By 1987, while starring in The Big Easy, Quaid's cocaine use had escalated to the point where he was surviving on barely an hour of sleep each night. The ubiquity of cocaine in Hollywood during this era was such that Quaid claimed it was even factored into some movie budgets. Quaid's addiction reached a critical point, and he recognized the need for change. In 1990, he took the courageous step of admitting his problem to his then-wife, Meg Ryan, and checked himself into rehab for cocaine addiction. This decision marked a turning point in Quaid's life and career. His journey to recovery was not without its challenges. Quaid and Ryan faced a difficult and public divorce, adding another layer of complexity to his path to recovery. Nevertheless, Quaid remained committed to his recovery, noting that this period marked the end of his love affair with cocaine. Since overcoming his addiction, Quaid has maintained his sobriety and successfully rebuilt both his career and personal life. Bruno Mars, the multi-talented record producer, singer, and songwriter, has enchanted global audiences with his catchy tunes like Uptown Funk and heartfelt ballads such as Just the Way You Are. His immense popularity catapulted him into Forbes' list of the top 12 highest-paid artists worldwide. However, even with his phenomenal success, Mars faced a significant setback in 2010. On September 19th of that year, the then 26-year-old Mars found himself in a precarious situation at the Hard Rock Casino in Las Vegas. Police discovered him in possession of cocaine, a scenario that could have severely impacted his burgeoning career. When confronted by law enforcement, Mars claimed it was his first time using drugs and admitted his actions were foolish. To resolve the legal issues, Mars agreed to a plea deal. The terms required him to maintain a clean record for a year in exchange for having the charges dismissed. As part of his penance, he paid a $2,000 fine and completed 200 hours of community service to clear his name. In a subsequent interview, Mars revealed that he had not been entirely truthful about his prior drug use. He attributed the incident to youthful indiscretion and the influence of alcohol. Zack Efron, known for his breakout role in High School Musical, has experienced his share of struggles with alcohol and drugs. Reports suggest that the actor's partying lifestyle included cocaine use and experimentation with MDMA, along with multi-day binges without sleep. In 2013, Efron took a crucial step toward recovery by checking into a rehabilitation facility to address his issues with both alcohol and cocaine. Beyond the specialized care he received in rehab, Efron also joined Alcoholics Anonymous and began working with a therapist to explore deeper underlying issues. Efron has been candid about his ongoing battle with addiction. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, he described it as a never-ending struggle. However, he also emphasized the positive impact of his recovery journey, stating, "I think it has changed my life. I am much more comfortable in my own skin. Things are so much easier now." The actor's perspective on his lowest moments is particularly insightful. He reflected, "Without those moments where you feel like you're lowest, it is impossible to appreciate the high ones." River Phoenix met a tragic end due to a drug overdose, despite claims that he was only an occasional user. His ex-girlfriend Martha Plimpton believed his drug use significantly impacted their relationship, although they remained close until his untimely death in October 1993. After completing the film project in Utah, Phoenix returned to Los Angeles, where he reportedly engaged in a days-long drug binge with his bandmates. The night before his death, he was said to have mixed cocaine and heroin, a dangerous combination known as a speedball. On that fateful night, Phoenix arrived at the Viper Room, a popular Hollywood nightclub. He confided in his friend Robert Forrest that he felt unwell and feared he had overdosed. Unfortunately, Forrest did not take Phoenix's concerns seriously at the time. Shortly after, Phoenix collapsed outside the club. His girlfriend, Samantha Mathis, watched in distress as he lay convulsing on the sidewalk. Although Phoenix was still alive when the ambulance arrived, efforts to revive him proved unsuccessful. River Phoenix was pronounced dead at 1:51 a.m. on October 31, 1993, at the young age of 23. His death sent shockwaves through Hollywood and sent a message about the dangers of drug use, even for those who may not be regular users. Oprah Winfrey has undoubtedly touched millions of lives through her television shows, movies, and magazines. Known for her generosity and wisdom, she has become a beacon of empowerment and enlightenment. However, behind her remarkable success lies a surprising past struggle with addiction. During a 1995 episode of her talk show focused on women battling drug problems, Oprah made a startling revelation. She admitted to her guests and audience that she too had grappled with addiction in her early 20s, specifically to crack cocaine. This confession came as a shock to many, including Kim Davis, a recovering addict and mother who was a guest on the show. Davis later expressed her astonishment to the Washington Post, saying it threw me completely off guard. You would never dream she had a problem with drugs. Oprah explained that her substance abuse was linked to a relationship she was in at the time. She and her partner would use the drug together, a situation that led to one of her biggest regrets, surrendering her personal power to a man. Britney Murphy, the vibrant star of films like Clueless, Freeway, and the voice behind Gloria in Happy Feet, met a tragic end in 2009 at the young age of 32. Her untimely death, initially attributed to natural causes, raised eyebrows and sparked widespread speculation. In the early 2000s, rumors circulated about Murphy's alleged use of heroin and cocaine. Her noticeable weight loss fueled further concerns about potential drug abuse. The actress's marriage to Simon Monjack, a figure many viewed as trouble, only added to the swirling mystery surrounding her life. The plot thickened when just 5 months after Murphy's passing, Monjack also died under similar circumstances. This double tragedy intensified scrutiny of the couple's lifestyle and possible substance abuse issues. The coroner's report revealed a variety of drugs at Murphy's bedside, leading to the conclusion that her death resulted from an overdose. Friends later disclosed that Murphy had developed a dependency on pain medication following cosmetic surgeries, a common pathway to addiction for many individuals. While disputes continue over the exact circumstances of her death, it is clear that addiction played a significant role in the premature loss of this talented actress. Mickey Rooney, this beloved figure from Hollywood's golden age and frequent co-star of Judy Garland, led a life that was far more complex and troubled than his public image suggested. While he denied allegations of being given drugs by MGM, unlike Garland's claims, the truth remains elusive as both have since passed away. Before his death from a heart attack, Rooney's stepson, Chris Aber, described a disturbing picture of the actor's private life. According to Aber, Rooney struggled with a dangerous addiction to sleeping pills, which led to violent mood swings and abusive behavior towards his 8th wife. Despite his charismatic on-screen persona, sources close to Rooney described him as an angry and petulant man behind closed doors. Aber alleged that Rooney regularly tormented his wife, engaging in physical and emotional abuse. The extent of Rooney's alleged drug dependency was staggering. Chris Aber claimed that collecting Mickey's weekly medications required a shopping bag due to the sheer quantity prescribed. This excessive use of medication reportedly worsened Rooney's volatile behavior and contributed to the tumultuous nature of his personal life. Leonard Nimoy, famous for his portrayal of the logical Vulcan, Spock, in Star Trek, faced his own battle with alcoholism off-screen. Despite his character's mastery over mind and body, Nimoy struggled to control his drinking for many years. The actor's habit began innocently enough with a drink to unwind after filming. However, this routine gradually escalated as Nimoy himself admitted. "The minute we finished the last shot, I would have a drink. Then it became a series of drinks, little by little before I knew it. I was drinking more and more because my addictive personality was taking over." According to his colleagues, Nimoy's drinking ritual after each taping eventually spiraled into covered consumption during filming. Like many celebrities grappling with addiction, Nimoy attributed part of his struggle to the pressures of fame and the spotlight. A troubled marriage further worsened his reliance on alcohol as a coping mechanism. Fortunately, Nimoy recognized the potentially fatal consequences of alcoholism before it was too late. He sought professional help and successfully overcame his addiction in 1987. This turning point in his life coincided with finding love again in his second marriage. Britney Spears, the iconic princess of pop, breathed new life into teen pop music in the late 1990s and early 2000s and became a defining figure of her generation. However, behind her dazzling performances and chart-topping hits, Spears grappled with significant personal challenges, including drug addiction and mental health issues. The year 2006 marked a turning point in Spears' life, coinciding with her highly publicized divorce from Kevin Federline. During this tumultuous period, the public became aware of her struggles with substance abuse and erratic behavior. Spears' personal life began to unravel in full view of the media spotlight, leading to a series of concerning incidents. As her situation worsened, reports emerged of a possible suicide attempt, and there were even distressing claims that Spears believed herself to be the Antichrist. Recognizing the gravity of her situation, Spears entered rehabilitation. However, her journey to recovery was not straightforward. It was during this time that she received a diagnosis of bipolar disorder, providing some context for her earlier behavior. With proper treatment and support, Spears gradually began to regain control of her life and career. Daniel Baldwin's struggles came to a head in 1998 when he made headlines for a bizarre incident at New York's Plaza Hotel. Baldwin was found running naked through the hotel's hallways, shouting his own last name. This strange behavior led to his arrest for cocaine possession. In the aftermath, he pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct and was sentenced to 3 months in a drug rehabilitation program. The actor later revealed that his cocaine addiction began in 1989, coinciding with his first acting job at the age of 29. Baldwin found himself in the grip of a drug that would dominate his life for years to come. Unlike many addicts who struggle with multiple substances, Baldwin's demon was singularly cocaine. He did not drink much, take pills, or smoke. The power of cocaine's hold on Baldwin was evident in his numerous attempts at recovery. He entered rehabilitation 9 times before finally overcoming his addiction. Today, Daniel Baldwin has transformed his life. Not only has he continued his acting career, but he has also become a rehabilitation coach, drawing from his personal experiences. Baldwin now uses his past struggles to help others battling addiction, turning his hardships into a source of hope and guidance for others. Jodie Sweeten, best known for her role as Stephanie Tanner on the beloved sitcom Full House, faced significant challenges after the show ended. Her journey into substance abuse began at the young age of 14 when she started drinking alcohol. Over the next 13 years, Sweeten grappled with various addictions, including ecstasy, methamphetamine, and crack cocaine. Her struggle with substance abuse took her to dark places far removed from her wholesome on-screen persona. In 2009, Sweeten bravely shared her experiences in her memoir, Unsweetened. She candidly discussed her battle with addiction following the conclusion of Full House. One particularly poignant anecdote involved her addressing a crowd at Wisconsin's Marquette University while still under the influence from a 2-day binge. Despite these challenges, Sweeten achieved sobriety in December 2011. However, her journey was not without setbacks. In 2013, following a separation, she faced a relapse but managed to refocus her life, turning her experiences into a force for good. Sweeten began working as a clinical logistics coordinator at a Los Angeles drug rehab center. She also earned a degree as a drug and alcohol counselor, using her past to help others facing similar battles. Drew Barrymore's journey in Hollywood began at an incredibly young age, but her early stardom came with a heavy price. Making her debut at 7 in the iconic film E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Barrymore was thrust into the spotlight before she could fully comprehend its implications. Born into a famous family, Barrymore's exposure to the entertainment industry started even earlier. By 11 months old, she was already working in commercials. Her childhood was far from typical, with experiences like indulging in Bailey's over ice cream at the tender age of 7. The pressures of fame took their toll early. By 11, Barrymore was struggling with alcohol addiction, and by 12, she was battling drug addiction. At 13, she reached a crisis point, attempting suicide and requiring hospitalization. Barrymore's parents' divorce when she was 9 further complicated her situation. Her mother exposed her to the wild Hollywood party scene, taking her to notorious venues like Studio 54. This environment pushed her into a lifestyle that was far too intense for someone her age. At 14, Barrymore took the drastic step of emancipating herself from her parents. She found herself cleaning bathrooms to survive, a far cry from her earlier life of stardom. Despite relapses and ongoing challenges, Barrymore eventually found her way to recovery. With the support of friends like Cameron Diaz, she overcame her demons and rebuilt her life. Today, she leads a successful career and personal life, having left behind the chaos of her past. Stephen King, a name synonymous with horror literature, has crafted some of the most iconic stories in the genre, from It and The Shining to Misery and Carrie. King's prolific output has earned him a place among the most renowned writers of all time. However, behind his literary success lay a long-standing battle with substance abuse. For years, King relied on alcohol to fuel his creative process. Beer became his constant companion as he churned out page after page of his terrifying tales. However, as his career progressed, so did his addictions. King soon turned to harder substances, with cocaine becoming his drug of choice for powering through late-night writing sessions. The extent of King's drug use was severe. He described stuffing his nose with cotton balls to prevent blood from dripping onto his typewriter as he wrote under the influence. Over time, substance use became so intertwined with his writing process that King feared sobriety would lead to creative failure. This fear of losing his creative edge made it even more challenging for King to seek help. His addiction had become not just a personal struggle, but a professional crutch he was afraid to let go of. After years of watching King's self-destructive behavior, his family and friends decided to intervene. It took several attempts, but with the right support and treatment, the master of horror was finally able to overcome his addictions to both drugs and alcohol. Judy Garland, born Frances Ethel Gum in June 1922, became a Hollywood legend known for her role in The Wizard of Oz. However, her life off-screen was far from magical. Signed by MGM as a teenager, Garland faced immense pressures that would shape her troubled future. As Garland transitioned into Hollywood, the challenges intensified. The studio placed her on a strict diet, closely monitored her weight, and introduced her to amphetamines to maintain her energy levels. Even before her iconic role as Dorothy at 17, Garland was already grappling with drug addiction. Later in life, Garland revealed the dark side of her early stardom. Studio directors regularly provided her and co-star Mickey Rooney with pills to push through exhaustion, followed by sedatives to induce sleep. This cycle of uppers and downers set the stage for a lifelong struggle with substance abuse. As MGM's most visible and hardest-working star, Garland eventually succumbed to full-blown addiction. The pressures of fame and the physical toll of her work led to multiple nervous breakdowns. Tragically, her battle with drugs ended her life prematurely. Garland died of a drug overdose in June 1969 at the age of 47, marking the end of a life filled with extraordinary talent but immense pain. Jeff Conway, best remembered as Kenickie in the hit musical Grease, fought a lifelong battle with addiction that ultimately led to his untimely death in 2011. Conway's struggle with substance abuse became public knowledge when he appeared on the reality show Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew, where his addictions to cocaine, alcohol, and painkillers were laid bare for all to see. Despite recognizing his problem in the mid-1980s and seeking treatment, Conway's challenges persisted throughout his life. His appearance on Celebrity Rehab also revealed a codependent relationship with his girlfriend, who was herself addicted to prescription opiates, further complicating his recovery efforts. A back injury sustained during the filming of Grease added another layer to Conway's addiction. The injury worsened over time, leading him to rely heavily on substances for pain management. Despite multiple surgeries and claims of improvement in a 2009 interview, Conway never fully overcame his dependence on drugs. On May 11, 2011, Conway was found unconscious, believed to have overdosed on pain medication. This incident proved to be his last battle with addiction. Sadly, the substances he had long struggled with ultimately claimed his life, bringing a tragic end to a career marred by personal demons. Marilyn Monroe, tell me you weren't expecting her name. Marilyn Monroe captivated audiences with her performances and her tumultuous private life. Despite being adored by millions, Monroe grappled with substance abuse, depression, and possibly bipolar disorder. As Monroe's career progressed, her mental health began to decline. She started forgetting her lines, sinking into despair and paranoia, and increasingly relied on alcohol and drugs to cope. The pressure of maintaining her public image while battling her demons took a heavy toll on the actress. In 1962, Monroe's life came to a tragic end when her psychiatrist found her dead in her Brentwood home. The coroner ruled her death as acute barbiturate poisoning, a fatal overdose that shocked the world and ended a life of both incredible fame and profound struggle. In 2010, the publication of Monroe's poems, letters, and diary entries provided insight into the deep loneliness and insecurity that fueled her addiction. Her words, "It's a terrible thing to be lonesome, especially in the middle of a crowd," captured the isolation she felt despite her immense popularity. Monroe's struggles were magnified by intense public scrutiny. including the unauthorized release of her nude photos. Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, shocked the world when he was found dead at the age of 42, face down in the bathroom of his Graceland mansion. The once vibrant star, known for his iconic hip-swinging moves and electrifying performances, had become a shadow of his former self. The toxicology report revealed a shocking truth. Elvis had died from a deadly cocktail of drugs, including Dilaudid, Percodan, Demerol, codeine, and Quaaludes. This tragic end stood in stark contrast to his public image and his early stance against drug use. At the center of Elvis's drug dependency was his personal physician, Dr. George Nickopoulos, known as Dr. Nick. Initially treating Elvis for saddle pain, Dr. Nick's care spiraled into a full-blown opiate addiction. He later admitted to prescribing thousands of addictive pills to Elvis, often attempting to substitute placebos but ultimately giving in to the star's demands. The irony of Elvis's death was not lost on the public. The same man who had once received a special badge from President Nixon for his anti-drug stance had succumbed to the very substances he publicly opposed. Misha Barton, recognized for her roles in James Blaine's 12 Dreams and the American soap opera All My Children, faced her own battles with substance abuse. While many may remember the scandal involving an alleged date rape drug, the reality of Barton's struggles appears to be more complex. Sources close to Barton revealed that she had been on a drug-fueled downward spiral. Text messages showed her desperate attempts to obtain various drugs, including Adderall, Xanax, and Oros. She even made references to a cocaine dealer she knew well, indicating a deeper involvement with illicit substances than initially suspected. Barton's struggles came to a head on her 31st birthday when she was spotted in a disturbing state. Neighbors found her standing on a fence in her West Hollywood backyard, screaming about the end of the world. This alarming incident led to a 911 call and Barton spending the night in the hospital. Upon her release, Barton claimed that her drink had been spiked with BHP, a known date rape drug, during her birthday party. However, given the revelations about her drug use, this claim was met with skepticism by some. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, was not only a musical genius, but also a cultural icon of the 20th century. However, behind his dazzling performances and groundbreaking music videos, Jackson battled a severe drug addiction that ultimately led to his untimely demise. Reports suggest that Jackson used up to 19 fake identities to fuel his drug habit during the last 15 years of his life. The roots of his addiction can be traced back to a 1984 Pepsi commercial accident that left him with severe burns. To manage the resulting pain, doctors prescribed opioids, which Jackson later identified as the starting point of his drug dependency. In 1993, Jackson took a step towards recovery by entering rehab and participating in a 12-step program. Despite these efforts, he continued to struggle with substance abuse throughout his life. Friends and family attempted to intervene, but Jackson largely remained in denial and refused their assistance. Tragically, Jackson's life came to an end in 2009 at the age of 50. He suffered cardiac arrest caused by a lethal combination of sedatives and propofol, a powerful anesthetic administered by his doctor to combat insomnia. The doctor was later charged with involuntary manslaughter, but it was too late to save the pop icon. His death remains one of the most talked about in the entertainment world. Joanna Moore, once Hollywood's golden girl and the first wife of Ryan O'Neal, experienced a dramatic fall from grace due to her struggles with addiction. Born Dorothy Joan Cook, Moore enjoyed a successful career, starring in over 17 feature films and making guest appearances in more than 100 television episodes before addiction took hold of her life. In 1970, Moore sought help for her substance abuse issues. However, less than a year later, she was arrested for drunk driving, resulting in the loss of custody of her children. Her marriage to Ryan O'Neal in 1963 produced 2 children, Tatum and Griffin. But as Ryan's career flourished, Joanna's declined, deepening her depression. Following their divorce, Moore's life spiraled out of control as amphetamines and alcohol became her primary focus. She relocated her family to a rundown ranch, attempting to care for troubled youths. However, her daughter Tatum later described the environment as chaotic and abusive, rife with drug use and neglect. Moore's battle with addiction continued to wreak havoc on her life and relationships. Ultimately, her heavy smoking contributed to her death from lung cancer in 1997, bringing a tragic end to a once promising career. Mary-Kate Olsen, one half of the famous Olsen twins, captured hearts as Michelle Tanner on the popular sitcom Full House. However, behind her adorable on-screen persona, Mary-Kate faced serious personal struggles during her teenage years. Mary-Kate battled self-image issues that led to unhealthy habits such as excessive drinking and smoking. These behaviors escalated into a severe bout of anorexia during her high school years. As she entered young adulthood, Mary-Kate began frequenting parties where drugs like marijuana and cocaine were readily available, leading to addiction at a young age. Rumors about her substance abuse intensified, especially after the tragic death of her boyfriend Heath Ledger from a drug overdose. Mary-Kate was reportedly the first person contacted after his death, and she sought legal immunity regarding the drugs involved in the incident. Following this tumultuous period, Mary-Kate entered a 6-week rehabilitation program. While the official reason given was to address her anorexia, there were whispers of drug treatment as well. Thankfully, Mary-Kate has since turned her life around, embracing sobriety and moving past those dark days. Cory Haim, known as the charismatic star of The Lost Boys, was a Canadian actor who rose to fame alongside his close friend Corey Feldman. While audiences admired his on-screen performances, few were aware of the deep personal struggles he faced off-camera. Haim's battle with addiction began in his teenage years, coinciding with his rising fame. As his career advanced, so did his struggles with substance abuse. Haim himself admitted that the pressures of filming License to Drive drove him deeper into addiction. Despite claiming to have overcome his vices after a family vacation in 1989, Haim's journey was far from over. By 2001, he had cycled through rehabilitation centers up to 15 times, fighting a relentless battle with dependency on prescription medications. Tragically, Haim never fully overcame his addiction. In the last 32 days of his life, he illegally acquired over 553 prescription pills, highlighting the depth of his struggle. While drugs were not the direct cause of his death at 38, his ordeal once again sheds light on the hidden battles many face in Hollywood. Ryan O'Neal, the American actor best known for his performances in Peyton Place and the iconic film Love Story, initially captivated audiences with his talent and charm. However, his personal life was marred by addiction and violent outbursts that often overshadowed his Hollywood success. The accusations against O'Neal paint a troubling picture. He allegedly fired a gun at his son Griffin and introduced him to cocaine at the young age of 11. This decision, Griffin claims, irreparably damaged his life. O'Neal's behavior has often been described as abusive, contributing to the O'Neal family's reputation as one of the most dysfunctional in Hollywood, with nearly every member grappling with substance abuse issues. Despite the turmoil that marked much of his later life, O'Neal's contributions to film and television cannot be dismissed. Yet the chaos and heartbreak he wrought, particularly within his own family, have become inescapable elements of his legacy. When O'Neal passed away on December 8, 2023, it was a somber reminder that his life, though marked by professional success, was also defined by profound personal struggles that left a lasting impact on those closest to him.